you got any idea why your group particularly has lasted as long as it has?
Because we stay together, I suppose.
And we enjoy it.
They are one of the most famous bands to come out of the British invasion. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're taking a look at the history of the Rolling Stones. British rock band The Rolling Stones formed in 1962 in London, England. The initial lineup consisted of vocalist Mick Jagger, guitarist Keith Richards, guitarist Brian Jones, and pianist Ian Stewart, with Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts forming the rhythm section. In 1962, the group played an 8-month residency at a London club, which caught the attention of their first label. This led to the release of their first singles, Come On and I Wanna Be Your Man.
I wanna be your man. I wanna be your man.
These charting singles allowed the Rolling Stones to book shows outside of London and eventually resulted in their 1964 self-titled debut. The Rolling Stones album featured mostly R&B cover tunes and one Jagger and Richards penned track, Tell Me You're Coming Back. Their sophomore effort, 12 by 5, also came out in 1964 and contained their first UK hit, It's All Over Now. This was followed by a commercially successful album entitled The Rolling Stones No. 2 in 1965. Their next record, Out of Our Heads, included many more original compositions than their previous work. Its most popular single, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, was the band's first international hit. 1966's Aftermath was the Rolling Stones' first album to feature songs written only by Jagger and Richards. Notable tracks were Have You Seen Your Mother, Baby, Standing in the Shadow, and Paint It Black.
I see my riddle and I want it painted black.
In 1967, the band released Between the Buttons, which spawned the tunes Let's Spend the Night Together and Ruby Tuesday. That same year, a tabloid newspaper targeted the Rolling Stones in an article that sparked the interest of the authorities to their alleged drug use. Jagger, Richards, and Jones were later charged with drug offenses. This was followed by the more psychedelic album, Their Satanic Majesty's Request, which included the single In Another Land. 1968 saw the release of the single Jumpin' Jack Flash and the album Beggar's Banquet. This more bluesy record produced the single Sympathy for the Devil.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.
Two circus-themed concerts starring John Lennon, The Who, and the Rolling Stones themselves were also filmed that year and would later be released as the movie The Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus. The next year, Brian Jones left the band due to his drug problems and was replaced by Mick Taylor. Less than a month later, on July 3, 1969, Jones was found drowned in his swimming pool. Just 2 days later, the Stones performed at London's Hyde Park and debuted the single Honky Tonk Women. That December, the album Let It Bleed, featuring the song Gimme Shelter, was released. The group also played the infamous Altamont Free concert, footage of which appeared in the 1970 documentary Gimme Shelter. The live album Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, The Rolling Stones in Concert, also came out that year. 1971's Sticky Fingers was their first record on their own label, Rolling Stones Records. It marked Taylor's first release with the band and generated the hits Wild Horses and Brown Sugar. The next year, the record Exile on Main Street hit #1 on the charts. It was followed by Goat's Head Soup, a less successful effort that still had a hit with the song Angie. Despite the success of the 1974 album It's Only Rock and Roll, Mick Taylor quit the Rolling Stones. The first album featuring his replacement, Ronnie Wood, was 1976's Black and Blue. While trying to finish their next live album, 1977's Love You Live, Keith Richards faced drug charges that delayed the recording sessions. In the late 70s, the Stones began to experience poor sales and reviews. The faster-paced rock and roll of their 1978 album, Some Girls, reignited their popularity, especially with the help of the single Miss You. However, mounting tensions between Jagger and Richards affected the recording of their next effort, 1980's Emotional Rescue. The huge American tour that followed the release of the 1981 album Tattoo You was later documented in the 1983 film Let's Spend the Night Together. Their European tour of the following year saw the addition of another member to the Stones lineup, piano player Chuck Leavell. After the release of the 1983 album Undercover, solo projects increased tensions between Jagger and Richards. As a result, 1986's Dirty Work contained many more Richards-penned tracks than usual. Nevertheless, the pair reconciled after the death of Ian Stewart, and the Stones released Steel Wheels in 1989. Bill Wyman retired shortly thereafter. The Grammy-winning Voodoo Lounge would be Darryl Jones' first album as Wyman's replacement. This was followed by the 1997 album Bridges to Babylon, which received mixed reviews. A Bigger Bang was released in 2005, with shows from the ensuing tour recorded and eventually seen in the 2008 film Shine a Light. Their unique sound and lively shows have made the Rolling Stones one of the biggest rock bands of all time. They have been going strong since the 1960s, and their music will surely continue to do so for a long time.
What you want, but if you try